You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Glad you can join me. Glad you can be here. You are listening to another podcast of All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on the YouTube side of things, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the social media links in the description box to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions. I won't take up much more of your time. Let's get into it. Okay, so recently I saw something where Dwight Howard was saying that he is a better center than Nikola Jokic, the Joker, the center from the Denver Nuggets. And I kind of wanted to touch on that. And the reason being is because I do think Dwight Howard doesn't get the respect that he deserves, because after his Houston Rocket days, he kind of became, he became a journeyman, in the NBA. Played with a lot of different teams for one season. I mean, there was a stretch where you had his last season in Houston, then Atlanta, one season in Atlanta, one season in Charlotte, I believe one season in DC with the Wizards. So, he's been all over the place after his Houston Rocket days. He did finally get a title, and I'll give him credit because he did get to an NBA Finals appearance, before he got the ring late in his career with LeBron and the Lakers. But I wanted to touch on this because it's kind of an interesting debate to me, So, is Dwight Howard really better than Jokic? First you have to establish some context, because you got both Howard and Jokic. They're great players in their own right, but the thing is, they both bring different skill sets. They do different things on the basketball floor. Dwight Howard, he's known for dominating, his presence on the defensive end, the athleticism that he shows, his ability to impact the game through his shot blocking, his rebounding. The offensive game wasn't really there, but somehow he could get you 18 in the NBA games. I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. They're going to say, well, Dwight didn't have an offensive game. I agree with that to a point. I do agree with that. He had no go-to moves, and I don't know if that's where maybe he didn't take it seriously, but Dwight was a guy that can go and get you 18, 12, a night. He can get you 18 points, 14 boards. You don't know how he got the 18 points, but the 18 points are there on the stat sheet. It is what it is. Now, you got Jokic on the other hand. He's a versatile big man. He's the big man for today's game. He is pretty much what I dare say a better version of Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know, but he's on that level, But like I said, Jokic, he's a versatile big man. He has great passing skills. The shooting range is there. His basketball IQ is most definitely there. Something that Dwight Howard does lack, So let's look at a few factors when comparing these two guys. All right, we'll let's get to the accomplishments. Dwight Howard, impressive career, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's led the league in rebounding multiple times. Dwight Howard, believe it or not, I do believe that he deserves to be on the top 75 NBA all-time list. That's just my thinking. That's how I feel, so don't be mad at me. But, you look at the Joker, although he's early in his career, he's made a great impact with the Nuggets. Look, they won the championship this year. They're the NBA champions. He's a 5-time NBA All-Star, 2-time league MVP. And honestly, I would have voted for Joker to win a third MVP this year. But, the problem is you get that the voters fatigue. They don't want to, they just didn't want to give it to him again this year. They gave it to Embiid. They felt sorry. If I'm Embiid, I wouldn't want it because, you're giving it to me because you just didn't want to give it to either Giannis or Joker. I would rather outright earn it, So Joker didn't win it last season, but I thought he should have had his third league MVP this past season. Joker, he showcases unique playmaking skills. I've seen this guy play in person. I've seen him play in person when the Nuggets have come down here to Atlanta. I've actually gone to Denver and I saw him play. It might have been his rookie year when I saw him play. I believe it was his rookie year, and I saw the passing. The passing was there. The skill set was there. You can see it. So aside from that, let's talk about the impacts, that they have on their team, And here, look, I think that Jokic, he has the edge here. He's taking the Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals. He does have the ability to carry a team deep into the playoffs. Dwight kind of did that maybe once, carrying a team deep in the playoffs, and that was that finals run that he went on with Orlando when they ultimately lost to Kobe and the Lakers. Look, Joker's playmaking abilities, for a guy his size, unmatched. He has the ability to control the game from a center position, which in today's game is kind of rare because you don't have the old school big man, the Shaqs and the Elijah Ones and the David Robinsons, the Tim Duncans. You just don't see that in today's game. And, Dwight Howard had a few dominant seasons with the Magic where he was the centerpiece to their success. Like I said, at the end of his Rocket years, his career was on the serious decline. He played for several teams. His role diminished, and look, Joker, on the other hand, he has been improving every year and he's been showing consistency, something that we didn't really see from Dwight Howard, once he got away from the Houston Rockets. Look, Joker is the proven focal point of that Nugget offense. That offense runs through Joker. I know they have Jamal Murray. They have some nice pieces. And I believe Bruce Brown just signed with the Pacers, I believe. I don't, so I've heard some people say that's going to be a big loss for the Nuggets. I don't really think so. I know what he brings. But I believe that offense, that team just runs through whatever Joker is doing. And discussing let's discuss the fundamental skills of each player. Dwight Howard is a force on the defensive end. A force. The shot blocking ability, the rebounding, second to none. The guy can do work underneath the boards. But, you go over to Jokic, and the passing and the playmaking skills make him a unique talent because he's a center who plays like he's a point guard. He has the ability to read the game like a point, and it makes him a nightmare for opposing teams to match up against. So, while Dwight Howard had an impressive career, again, I think Dwight should be a top 75 of all-time player. People are probably going to laugh when I say that. But looking at the centers that they have on that list, I'm putting Dwight in there. But at this time, it's hard to argue that he's better than Jokic. Jokic's versatility, the consistency, the overall impact on the game, I think gives Jokic the edge. His skill set as a playmaking center is rare. And in today's NBA, is a valuable asset. Dwight may have been a dominant force in his prime, but, Jokic's contributions to his team and his individual accolades and the skill set, I think, make him the better player over Dwight Howard. I'm sorry, Dwight. I love you in your Orlando days. Um, you didn't mesh well with Kobe in LA. I don't know what happened there. That team should have been better than what it was. I really don't know what happened there in Houston. That didn't work out in Houston. I don't know why. But again, Dwight, I do think you're a top 75 player of all time. I just don't think you're better than Nikola Jokic right now. I think Jokic gets the edge, and he's going to just continue to take his game to new heights. So Jokic has the edge. And on that is all I have for you today, folks. Look, I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the social media links in the description box. Get in contact with the podcast with comments or suggestions. You've been listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And remember, it's your world. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm out. Peace.
You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.